look like they're just painted into the landscape.
We have gotten so lucky with the weather here.
Something inevitably happens.
It's genius. I think it's so fun and so cool.
Well, you can't have everything, so moving on.
So we were just on a 3.5-hour train, which was part of our long journey to get from Munich to Bern, and we just got kicked off of our train, this one, because the attendant claims that the train ends here. We're in Waterford, and we're supposed to get on a connecting train to Zurich. And it's not just us. Show them. There's other people who thought that they were getting off at Zurich and now are just stuck here. So we need to go find an attendant to try to figure out if we can get another train to Bern or what. I'm not sure. It's another travel day, but this has never happened.
Yeah, for clarity, that there was one more stop, even showing on the display, showing that Zurich was the final stop. So we were just sitting there waiting for the train to keep going.
Yeah.
And then, you know, very, very rude, like probably the most rude person that we've encountered
Yelling
on this entire
at us.
trip. Yeah. Yeah, telling us to get off the train, telling us the train ends here. The train doesn't end here if the screen that we're looking at says there's one more stop, which is the stop we need. So
We've already paid to get to Bern, so it's just extremely frustrating.
yeah.
Oh yes, 2 persons. That's fine. Now, since it's a flex price ticket, so we can take any train within Switzerland, so it's fine. We just go into the train and show the ticket. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If it would be a saver ticket, then we have to allow you to travel with another train. But this is fine.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll just go to platform
Just
4.
on this one.
Okay.
No problem at all.
Thank you so much.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate your time. Thank you.
very
Happy
much.
New Year.
So good news, we went in and explained the situation, and they basically just gave us sort of a replacement ticket going straight from here to Bern, so we're not losing any time or any money, because it's like there's a certain kind of ticket here in Switzerland that just covers all trains.
Right. And the attendant there was very nice, so he made up for the super rude train attendant.
Yeah.
So we're just here at our platform, and we're just gonna go, and it's nicer in a sense because we don't have to go to Zurich and then transfer to another train. So this is taking us just straight to Bern, but this is a travel day.
Yeah.
Something
If you're just new to
crazy.
if you're new to our videos, there's something called the travel day curse.
Yeah.
I don't know if we officially called it that on video, but the travel day curse essentially is something where for the 2 months that we've been traveling, on a travel day, when we go from one place to the next,
Wait, you should leave.
something inevitably happens, like 90% of the time. We've had a few good travel days lately, and we felt very, very blessed, like the travel gods had given us like a little bit of a reprieve.
A break, yeah.
But basically just, if something can, it's Murphy's Law. If something can go wrong, it will go wrong on a travel day. And it just creates unnecessary stress.
I mean, there are so many that I can think of, and it's just like 99% of the time just not in our control. Like Google Maps taking us to a completely different location. The one train that we had, where was it going? That it just kept breaking down every like hour.
Oh yeah, going to, I think it was going to Hamburg.
Yeah.
And
We almost missed our train there.
Yeah. And I mean, again, this could very, like, maybe this stuff just happens all the time with public transportation over here, and it's just either a coincidence that we're getting it on all of our travel days, or maybe like it is just every time you travel, expect something like this to happen. But yeah.
It makes it very stressful. Makes travel days something that we dread.
Yeah.
So.
All right, the rest was smooth. We are officially in Bern, and we are now headed, of course, to the hostel. Probably follow the usual protocol. We'll check in, have a little bit of decompression from the travel, go out, find something to eat, do a little bit of night exploring, but really save a lot of the big stuff for our first of 2 full days, which will be tomorrow. So, yeah, Okay, so we are checked in, but not quite moved in to our room. Just like Luxembourg, we're in a 4-person dorm with no curtains, but that's okay. And also like Luxembourg, we have our own sheets that we have to put on the beds. But anyway, it's the next day. We settled in last night, got some food, saw a little bit of the surrounding area, but I think it's time to go out and explore Bern properly, so let's do it.
Blue the water.
It's interesting to walk sort of, I don't know, away from city center to get to where we're going and just walk through like residential areas. Most of this walk has just been houses and apartments on either side of us. So it's a little bit different than the typical touristy experience that we've had where we're just walking through, you know, big city areas. We're actually, I think, getting a little glimpse into where and how people around here live, which is nice change. It's also interesting that it is January 3rd in Switzerland, and I don't really think we need these coats at all. So, if anything, they're just holding us back, raising that body temperature, walking up all these hills. What do you think so far?
I think the view is great. It's gonna be even better up here, but we are just going uphill for a little bit. So yeah, even after 2+ months of doing this travel and walking every day, it does not get easier. Arrived at Girton. It's basically, from what we gather, an area on top of like the hill that has a bunch of activities. So like mini go-karts for little kids. It has a cart system thing that you can go down the mountain, restaurants, bars, and it has some very tall different structures that you can climb up to see the Alps and the whole city. So we're gonna spend probably a few hours here just doing everything.
I'm sad I don't fit in the little go-karts.
They go probably like 2 miles an hour, but they look so cute. And let us explain a bit of how this all happened. We were originally thinking that this was just a cart system to go up and see the mountain and back down, but we just kind of hopped on a bus, even without tickets. The guy just let us on. So we didn't really know it was all of this, right?
Yeah. I had no idea. I thought it was just coming up to a nice lookout point, but no, it's like there are activities and things up here.
Yeah, there's like a fire over there, there's food, so I think our first mission is to go up that way. Wow. I can't believe it. You see that? My contacts are literally like dry from the wind. It's hard to see. Hi Mom. Hi Dad.
So how does it feel to just casually be on top of a mountain?
Well, it's so crazy seeing the Swiss Alps. Like a mountain range, mountains I would have never, ever thought I would ever see. It's like saying that Eiffel Tower is the best thing that I can compare it to. Like hearing about it, seeing pictures of it. One of the most iconic like mountain ranges ever. It's so wild. And Brian and I were talking about, we've seen a lot of beautiful scenery and stuff, but seeing mountains like this, it's been so long since we've seen mountains like this, like the last time we were in Colorado. And yeah, so it's crazy. And I would definitely recommend coming to this little place. Like I'm sure if you come here in summer, it would be amazing with the warmth, and I'm sure it's more lively and stuff, but here, yeah, it's beautiful.
It's always good to have days like this on the trip when it just really hits you. Something reminds you where you are, what you're doing. You remember where you were 2 months ago, beyond 2 months ago, before this trip. Sort of where you came from, how far you've come. Just a lot gets put in perspective, you know, when something like the sight of the Swiss Alps just shakes you and says, yeah, you're not in Kearney, Nebraska anymore. Like I'm just walking up this hill and I just see them. They look like they're just painted into the landscape. They don't even look real. Just how fortunate we are to have been able to do this. I think of just how much we sacrificed and saved, and just sort of how much uncertainty there was doing this as well. You know, full transparency. At the time of this, that I'm filming this right now, you know, we don't have everything figured out for when we get back. We know the town we're moving to, and that's pretty much it. Employment, still gotta figure it out. Exactly where we're living, still gotta figure it out. And yet, despite all of those big question marks, we still came here, and this is the reward. Let's go get Lauren's reaction.
So, I'm out of breath. Seeing it from the tower was cool, but I truly think this is a better spot. It's less windy, and you're like closer, so.
And you just get like, you see the expanse, you know, you're on the same level as a lot of it, and you just naturally see it, the elevation decrease. And
we love Prague, but we were like, Prague is the most beautiful place we've been to so far. This tops it, in my opinion.
I mean, if you could take the city of Prague and put it in this landscape, which, you know, I know that Prague also was in hills and small mountains and stuff surrounding it, but if you could just take these mountains and surround the city of Prague, I think you would have like the perfect place to live. And then we haven't even like started to address like this side with, you know, the city just sprawling all the way around.
Yeah, this is like, this reminds me of Calton Hill, this side where you can see all of the city below.
Yeah. And then just casually,
Those mountains.
those little guys.
And I think what we're gonna do now is maybe get like a warm drink or just like a little
Glühwein.
Yeah, they have Glühwein, you know, which is my fave, or a coffee or something, and just warm up a bit and enjoy it. I think that's kind of all that's left to do. We'll see if we find anything else up here.
But honestly, just like sitting in the grass for a half hour like we just did, looking out at everything, that in itself is worth coming up here. And I think it should be noted too that we didn't have to pay to come up here. Apparently, if you're staying in Bern, they give you some kind of code that we didn't get any kind of code, but we were told that you do if you stay in the city. We just showed kind of like our reservation, like proof of our accommodation, and they just let us come up.
Yeah, and you could, in theory, I guess, buy a ticket beforehand, but there was stuff on the website that said you could buy it there. So there was just some confusion, but the guy who let us onto the bus was very kind and said, like, you showed that you are staying in Bern, so you can come up for free. So it worked out, but I think we could have just asked a receptionist about it, but we just had no idea.
Yeah. Obviously, do your own research. Don't just take our word for it. But as far as our experience here, it was completely free to hop on a bus and come up here and, you know, walk around and do all of this stuff. So,
Yeah.
what is it? It's called Girton.
Yes.
Yeah, if you come to Bern, I mean, you got to come up and explore Girton.
So after that long walk and the beautiful scenery, we had a hankering for a burger, and we walked by this place, and it's all vegan, which is cool. And I got the Mackin burger. Brian got, what'd you get? Just like a traditional burger?
It's kind of like a barbecue burger.
A barbecue burger and some fries. I'm excited to see how it tastes. It looks great. Now we are heading to the grocery store, to Aldi, to get some food for the next like day and a half. It is really expensive here in Switzerland, so we're trying to cut down where we can.
If you're going to do a trip, anything like what we are doing here, definitely do some grocery shopping when you get to a new place, because you will save so many euros, francs, dollars, pounds, etc.
Everything that we just bought was the price of one burger for dinner, or that we had for dinner tonight, so. Yeah.
Probably not nearly as delicious, but you just gotta ask yourself what you're willing to sacrifice. So.
We're not big foodies, so it helps. Where are you going?
Just gonna go backwards.
Hello everyone, it is our second day and our last day here in Bern, and we're just gonna stay in the city and explore. There's a few things I would definitely want to do, like the cathedral that we're heading to, but first we're gonna check out some shops, and I just want to point out how cool these are. These are all stores, and whenever they open up you just like go down the steps, so they're essentially just, I don't know, it's like another entrance. It seems like they maximize the amount of stores that they can have in this area. It's genius. I think it's so fun and so cool.
And something else that's really fascinating is that apparently there are 100 or maybe even more than 100 fountains around the city. So we're gonna keep an eye out for those as well.
never seen a park with those before. You should try it. Here, get on. You get on. You don't want her to get hurt. I have to say that we have gotten so lucky with the weather here these last 2 days. Yesterday was a little windy, but today is perfect. And looking back on what we've done so far, we've had really unfortunate weather in some places. So we feel so glad to have this final day here with this beautiful weather, a wonderful day. Yeah, I'm actually kind of sad that we're gonna leave tomorrow. You feel the same way?
Yeah, it's been a nice break. I mean, we had Berlin, we had Prague, we had Munich, all sort of back to back to back, which was just very, like we said yesterday, like in the city. Actually, even further back, like it's been very sort of claustrophobic. So even though we're in the city now, there's still just like these big open spaces. It feels very city amongst nature versus just city with a little bit of nature sprinkled throughout.
A slower city, you could say.
Yeah, it is a slower city. It's not very, it's not very packed. It doesn't feel overly touristy. I mean, the new year has passed, so now I think the whole month of January and a lot of the places we go should probably feel a bit emptier, which is fine for us. We can sort of explore at our own pace, hopefully not have to wait in long lines for the things we want to see. Very different here. A good start to like this final phase of our third and final month of the trip. Unfortunately though, there's a lot of construction happening at various points around this cathedral, so it's hard to get like a really nice just head-on view without scaffolding and various platforms and other things in the way. So it's a bit disappointing. Kind of like the Reichstag building in Berlin. You want to get that nice beautiful shot. It's still beautiful, but yeah, it's just difficult to position yourself appropriately when there's construction on all sides. So moving on.
If there's a Harry Potter thing, we go. If there's any nerd thing, we go. But if there's a secondhand vintage store, we go for me. Speaking of Harry Potter.
I think we can all agree that it's more As I was saying, I think we can all agree that the nerd shops, as Lauren likes to call them, are much, much more exciting. I mean, I've never seen a slide in a secondhand clothing store, so you be the judge. So we are here at the bear pit. It's obviously winter, so there are no bears to see, but I believe we can see them on webcam. Would have been amazing, obviously, to see them just hanging around in the middle of the city. Very odd place to have them, but let's go see them on webcam.
A few moments later.
Scratch that. Apparently there's nowhere to see them on webcam. I don't know if maybe there's like a website you can go to and just watch them live, but...
It would be amazing, like Brian said, to see them in person though. Like this is such a random thing, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, well, you can't have everything, so moving on.
We're going to a rooftop bar. What? A rooftop bar. To hopefully see the mountains again. So it is called Atika, and it is at the Hotel Bern, and the view is insane. So.
Okay, so final thoughts about Bern and about Switzerland before we leave.
Well, I felt extremely safe here. It was clean here. It was easy to navigate. The mountains were incredible. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the most exciting place, but the mountains stood out.
Yeah, the mountains are the big highlight. Going up Girton, that's of course going to be like the main. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's
Keep going.
fine. He always says that. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's definitely the main highlight. Just the views and the scope of all of the mountains around you.
Also, I think part of the Bern experience that made it so special is it was one of those times that we had no expectations for or anything like that, so it kind of surprised us at how clearly we could see the mountains. And of course, going up to the rooftop bar, we went up there knowing that it was a good view, but it was a better view than we could have imagined.
Yeah. And also we got lucky too with our accommodation.
Oh
there
my
was
gosh,
we
yeah.
were in a you saw a 4 bed dorm, and all 3 nights that we stayed here we didn't have any roommates, so we got very lucky. It was basically like having a private room.
Yeah.
Not that we just completely don't want to interact with people, it's always a roll of the dice, and for some reason our dice always land on someone snoring very loudly.
Or inconsiderate roommates, yeah.
Yeah. Oh god, Prague.
But it was clean, like I said, very safe city. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't like a ton to do, but I think part of it is the season that we're in. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the bears are in hibernation, and a lot of the parks, the things aren't blooming.
Right.
But again, that's just one of those things, the price you pay for, we didn't have a choice, but traveling in winter. But anyway, we are now on the fourth phase of our trip, the descent, traveling south. We'll be going south basically for the next almost 2.5 weeks. We are heading to our 12th country, I believe our 12th.
Yeah.
What country is that?
We're going to Italy.
Yep.
We're going to Milan first, which I think is our 19th city. And it is like 6:30, and it's the first time since Edinburgh, if you could believe it, that we've taken like an evening train.
Yeah, we're gonna be very tired by the end of the night. Looking forward to just crashing, but
We've got a full day tomorrow.
very full day.
And of course, we'll take you there with us.
Yep.
And we will see you in the morning. Hopefully we'll have coffee in hand. We'll see.
And so here we are.
There's nothing that we could afford.
I'm not in the greatest mood right now, and I
Well-
hate people that do this.